During my self-healing process of opening my singing voice, I developed an opinion about the way singing is taught and also about the way vocal techniques are used. In this video, I will teach you the best approach to teach singing in case of trauma for effective results. At the end of this video, you will understand that singing is not just a physical activity, the concept of trauma, why traditional singing classes fail, and what works in singing training in case of trauma. So, let's do it! Singing is not just a physical task. It also involves accessing emotions, and emotions implies the relationship between our autonomic nervous system and our body. Because of that, our mental and emotional state matters a lot when learning to sing. It is not uncommon to experience emotions of fear or anxiety during singing training, but unfortunately, it is common to focus only on the physical aspect. For people with trauma symptoms, feeling safe is the number one priority. Otherwise, it will be very difficult to relax and express themselves. If the trauma is directly related to vocal expression, singing itself can trigger traumatic responses. I see this logic not only in singing, but also in cases of difficulty in public speaking. But for a better approach to singing training, we need first understand what is trauma. Trauma is basically an overwhelmed nervous system. It is much more common than our society was willing to admit until recent years when the discussion and awareness about the topic became trendy. What happens is, under intense stress, our autonomic nervous system is not able to restore balance and gets stuck in this state. What we call symptoms, such as anxiety or chronic muscular tensions, are nothing more than our nervous system trying to cope with a perceived danger and trying to restore balance. For more details around the definition of trauma, check this link. During singing training, it is key that the student can feel that it is safe to be in the now and practice to feel in the body along with acceptance of the feelings that arise. Sadly, traditional singing training fails to recognize it. In the case of those with trauma, there is a chronic limitation to the full use of the voice that will not be resolved by just doing mechanical exercises or using techniques without first creating a feeling of safety in one's own body and acceptance of fear and anxiety that arises when trying to sing. For example, if a teacher says to someone, "Breathe more, breathe deeper," this approach, just saying breathe more, breathe deeper, or even giving a model will not work because in these cases there is an unconscious blockage below the conscious level. It is a mechanism of self-protection. Not being able to breathe fully is not because the person does not understand the teacher or is a bad student or even does not have talent. The body of a person in trauma state is unable to breathe fully, and insist in this kind of approach will increase the emotional blockage to breathe properly and to sing. I will describe in the next chapter what works better in this case. My intention is not judging anyone, but to create awareness. We all came from a traditional educational model where everyone must follow a predetermined pattern and emotions are put aside in favor of the mechanical. But things are changing to a more humanized approach, also in the field of voice. Now I will share what works in singing training in cases of trauma. Creating an environment of safety, accessing the sense of feeling well and having fun during the training, and putting vocal techniques in the service of the body instead of forcing the body to fit in the techniques. The key here is to create safety. How do you do this? With acceptance of failure as a normal part of the process of learning a skill, with a non-judgmental posture, and with focus on the success rather than what's wrong. The attitude of acceptance and non-judgment helps the student to open up and have the courage to take another step. It will help unblock the unconscious defense. In this way, singing training can be a path for healing trauma. Accessing the sense of feeling well and having fun, especially when the person is feeling anxious or tense, can be done by choosing songs that make sense to the student, bring joy to them. It is very common the songs to be imposed on the student without having meaning to them. But think, when I connect with the song on an emotional level and I feel moved by the positive emotions, the nervous system in the body enters a state of spontaneity. I leave the thoughts and go to my body, and it allows the flow state. Effortless singing happens in the flow state. I recommend you watch this video to understand it better. Remember that music has the power of access our unconscious mind and bring us to a state of balance. That's why music in itself is a great tool for healing trauma. Concentrating just on the technique when it is clearly not working, insist on doing it perfectly, on achieving this or that specific position of the tongue or larynx, tends to further increase tension, the feeling of judgment, and the focus on the how rather than the what, the goal of the practice. Keep in mind that muscular work cannot be disconnected from how your body feels and the recognition of emotions that arise when you practice. This is important because feelings and muscular coordination work together. Also, when someone places singing as a task to be performed to achieve a result, without considering the connection with the music and with the person's feelings, it contributes to increase the person's dissociation. This discussion leads to a rethinking of the general approach to teach singing, as the fear of singing, also known as stage fright, is a universal issue. This is always linked to the perception of ourselves in relationship to others, in the sense of being accepted or rejected, and to the sense of safety to express our feelings and our truth. So I believe that these tips are valid for situations far beyond cases of trauma. What do you think? Leave your opinion in the comments. Finally, I would like to emphasize that as teachers or coaches, being able to access our own emotions and regulate them is key to being able to help others. It means the teacher or coach during their process of self-knowledge and maybe self-healing. Also, depending on each case, it can be wise trauma healing work for the student in addition to the singing classes. Now I have a homework for you, teachers and students. Start implementing these 3 strategies I explained in your routine as a singing teacher or in your alone practice if you are a student. Homework number 1. Practice creates safety by accepting failure during the process of learning to sing, for having a non-judgmental posture in case of teachers, how you react to the student, how the student is perceived by you. In the case of students, start paying attention to your own thoughts, your self-talk, with the intention of create more safety and acceptance inside, and by focusing on the success rather than what's wrong. And don't forget to tell me what happens when you do this. Homework number 2. Practice feeling well and having fun in the moment of training by using a song that you really like or have an emotional connection with. In the case of teachers, using songs that make sense to the student, bring joy to them. Also, by focusing on the pleasure of singing instead of being perfect. Remember, when you focus on the enjoyment, the growth happens naturally, without feeling the work as a burden. Let me know if it changed your results for the better. Homework number 3. Start training vocal techniques, feeling and honoring the body, instead of forcing the body to achieve a result. How do you do this? Using a sense of curiosity. For example, try to discover where the sound better resonates in your body and how your body feels and responds to the exercises. Experiment. A teacher can say, "Let's see what we can do with this. What placement feels better?" A student can ask, "What feels better for me in my body?" Let me know what changed by doing this approach. I created a resource to help all of you on this subject. I have a link below to a file that explains how you can start organizing your singing practice with strategies to overcome fear of singing. It is free and you can download it. I invite you to like this video if it was useful for you and also to subscribe to the channel. I also have a curiosity to share with you who came with me until the end of this video. The thumbnail of this video was inspired by this book, Head First, by Dennis Strine. The book talks about singing in the head voice and I recommend. I will leave the link in the description. When I saw this illustration, I remembered that I had experienced this exact situation in a singing class. It was a supposed holistic singing class, and I had to lie on the floor and try to relax while a teacher with a very judgmental attitude criticized me. Then I gave up the classes. Have you ever experienced something similar? Well, don't forget to do your homework. Let me know what you think and if it worked for you. Thank you for watching. See you soon. Bye.